Morning, everyone. This is a very brief default calendar for Thursday, December 28th. Uh, Mr. Mullis, your case came off the calendar because it was only placed on the calendar if the attorneys were seeking attorney's fees. They decided not to seek attorney's fees, and as a result, the matter could be resolved without a hearing. This is a very brief.
Apologies, sorry.
Sorry, no problem. And so, Mr. Mullis, your case will not be appearing on today's calendar.
All right. Do you need anything else from me then?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And is it Mr. Braz? Am I saying that, or is Braz the correct pronunciation?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Okay. I appreciate you being willing to revise your order and submit that proposed order. And so that's great, and we'll be able to handle this case in its entirety today. As I said, there's only two cases on. I expect the judge to be joining us any moment. Yeah. And we should all be out of here by about 9:40 or at the latest 9:45. So and we both have proposed orders, so we'll get them on immediately because the court is not open tomorrow. So we'll make sure these all get done today. All right, if you'll just stand by, I expect the judge to join us any moment.
Good morning. So we should be in and out of here pretty quickly. I have a pretty short calendar this morning. Thank you all for making time on the calendar and not being quite as annoyed with me for setting a calendar hearing the week between Christmas and New Year's. I appreciate that, but it keeps the trains running to have a default calendar at the end of each month. And so I appreciate y'all's willingness to accommodate that. First position is Shake Rag Homeowners Association versus Charlie Nguyen.
Good morning, Your Honor. Zach Bress here for the plaintiff.
Hi, Mr. Browse. And have you been in touch with Mr. Nguyen, or did you have any expectation that he might appear?
We have been in touch with, I actually believe it might be Miss Nguyen, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's no trouble. But yeah, we have been in touch with the defendant in this matter, Your Honor, but the last communication we had was back in October, so I didn't really have much of an expectation for their attendance today.
Okay, thank you, sir. And then I have Monticello Park Homeowners Association versus Shirlene Gilbert.
Good morning, Your Honor. Samuel Schwager on behalf of the plaintiff.
Okay. Do I have anyone here on behalf of Ms. Gilbert? Mr. Schwager, have you been in touch with Ms. Gilbert, or did you have reason to expect her appearance today?
No, Your Honor, we haven't been in touch, and I don't anticipate that she'll be making an appearance just because we haven't had no contact with her.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Freehoff, am I correct that the other two positions had resolved through proposed orders or otherwise?
That's correct. One dismissed voluntarily, and the other one we dealt with. That defendant showed up, but I explained to him, Mr. Mullis, that because no attorney's fees had been sought, his case had been adjudicated without need of a hearing. So he signed up.
Thank you. Okay, well then we'll go ahead and get started. Mr. Braz, if you want to go ahead and make your presentation, please.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
This is Shake Rag Homeowners Association versus Charlie Nguyen. This is a case involving unpaid HOA assessments, Your Honor. Before the court this morning, we have a motion for default. I have with me here today Mr. Robert Needlinger. He will be testifying as to the assessments and I believe the late fees as well as the interest involved in this case. And I will, of course, be presenting testimony as to the attorney's fees and costs.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Mr. Neidlinger, would you please raise your right hand, sir?
Yes,
Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to present to the court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can lower your hand. All right, Mr. Neidlinger, please state your full name
Robert Cretan Neidlinger III,
and where are you employed?
Real Manage,
What is your position?
Community Association Manager.
And as a community association manager, what are your responsibilities?
Include many, but it focuses on reviewing delinquent accounts, unpaid assessments, liaison between the association and the attorneys like yourself.
And how does your company keep track of homeowner accounts for the association?
We keep account ledgers for each property as a routine business practice.
What kinds of entries are made on the ledgers?
Yearly assessments, of course, late fees, interest charges, and payments that are applied by the homeowners.
And when are these entries to the ledger made?
Every charge payment is recorded on each resident account ledger and near the time of the events that they are required.
And is the property address 320 Windstone Way, Johns Creek, Georgia, within Shake Rag Homeowners Association?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And are you familiar with the account history for this property?
I am, sir.
And is going to, Your Honor, may I share a document with court?
Yes, thank you. Now, I apologize if y'all can hear my dog barking in the background. He's very unhappy about not being in the room. So,
I can very much sympathize with that, Your Honor. Mine are very much the same. Is the court able to see this?
yes, I am.
Right. Mr. Neidlinger, who is the current owner of the property at 320 Windstone Way, Johns Creek, Georgia?
Apologize for the last name pronunciation. If I get it wrong, Charlie Nigel.
That'll work, Mr. Neidlinger. Is this the correct account ledger for that property owned by that owner?
Yes, sir, it is.
And is this account delinquent for unpaid assessments?
Yes, sir.
And when an account becomes delinquent, what else is due besides assessments?
And of course includes late fees, interest, attorney fees, and court costs.
Under what authority do these amounts become due?
This is under the Association Governing Documents Article 4.
And how much is owed by Charlie Wynn through December of this year, 2023, for unpaid assessments and late fees?
For assessments and late fees only is $1,430.
And how much is owed for interest?
Interest only would be $178.26.
And at what rate is the interest calculated?
10% per annum.
No further questions, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, I would move forward with my testimony as to the attorney's fees.
Sure, I just realized I was muted. Yes, please go ahead. I don't have any questions for your witness. And so if you would just go ahead and make your presentation regarding attorney's fees, that would be helpful.
Very good, Your Honor. My name is Zachary Braz, and I'm an attorney duly authorized to practice law in the state of Georgia. I've been an attorney with Luter, Larkin & Hunter, LLC, for approximately 7 months. Luter, Larkin & Hunter has performed legal services on behalf of Shake Rag Homeowners Association. It is in the regular course of business for this firm to make and keep a record of the attorney's fees and costs incurred during such representation. The entries appearing in such a record were made at or near the time of the events they represent. I'm familiar with the method of keeping such a record and with the work performed by each individual appearing on the billing statement. A copy of the billing statement for this matter has been forwarded to the court. Your Honor, if I may, I would share that at this time. Your Honor, are you able to see this document?
Yes, I am able to see it. And yes, I was muted again. Sorry. I can see it just fine.
No trouble, Your Honor. Thank you. The legal services rendered in this case for the collection of assessments resulted in attorney's fees in the amount of, and I will scroll down briefly to share the totals, in the amount of $2,807, costs of $497.56, and fees for attending this hearing in the amount of $125. These amounts are customary in the Atlanta area for attorneys of similar experience and expertise. Upon review of the attached billing statement, the hourly rates, work performed, time spent, and total expenses incurred, I do believe that these fees are reasonable in light of the nature and complexity of the work involved. These attorneys' fees and costs were actually incurred, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, Your Honor. I forwarded our proposed order to Mr. Freehoff
I
for the
actually
court's
have it.
meetings.
I have it in front of me. If you would stop sharing your screen. The
Yes, sir.
only, and everything appears to be in order. The presentation that you have made is appropriate. You provided a sufficient factual basis for the expenses that were incurred. The only thing I'm going to change it for this order, but for future reference, one of the things I would ask you to do is always include in your proposed order the date on which service occurred, and that 30 days has passed since that date, the party, and since the party, and then more than 15 days has passed since the party became in default, because that way, when we go back and look at that one order, I can look at that one order and see what I needed to see if I ever have to go back to it, instead of having to go back into the record and figure out what's what. That's just an extra sentence that's very helpful for the court to have in that one document. We're going to add it today, but for future reference, and if you could share that with your colleagues, who obviously we see we get tons of these through you guys. But if you could just share with them that we would very much appreciate that sentence to be included in those proposed orders. Otherwise, we will go ahead and add that sentence and get everything on file for you. Okay, Mr. Brass?
Great. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You do the same. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you. Have a good day. Mr.
Thank you.
Nightmare as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And Mr. Shoaga, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, or is it one syllable? Or
You got it,
two or
Your Honor.
three syllables?
Showaga, you got it.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Shoaga, if you want to go ahead with your presentation.
Yes, Your Honor. This is a complaint for damages that we filed on behalf of the association. Our complaint was filed, Your Honor, on August 5th, 2023 for collection of unpaid assessments that accrued on the property that is owned by the defendant, Ms. Shirlene Gilbert. Your Honor, in this case, we did serve the defendant personally via the sheriff, Fulton County Sheriff's Office. She was served on November 2nd, 2023. And the entry of service was filed with this court November 9th, 2023. Our motion for default judgment was just filed on December 27th, 2023. And we are seeking an amount of $8,118.33. Comprised of this amount, Your Honor, or let me back up. There was no answer filed by the defendant within 45 days, so the case is in default. So we are seeking a default judgment for damages. In this case, in the amount, $4,424.31 is comprised of principal. Those are the amounts that were liquidated in the declaration, which is attached as an exhibit to our complaint. In this case, Your Honor, we're also seeking $404.52 in interest, $2,090 in attorney's fees, $985.50 of litigation expenses, and $214 of court cost. We did file with my certificate of default a exhibit of the attorney's fees that have accrued in this case, and the costs and expenses that have accrued. Your Honor, those amounts are due in accordance with the documents, the declaration for the association at Article 8, Section 8.1b and Section 8.8. As an attorney, I'm duly authorized to practice law in the state of Georgia, and I'm employed with the law firm of Lizaga & Johansson as a senior associate. The association hired Lizaga & Johansson to initiate collection actions against the defendant as of her result to pay the amounts due under the declaration. That includes sending a demand letter, filing liens, filing the lawsuit, and appearing in court today. Your Honor, as mentioned, again, the attorney's fees that have accrued are $2,090, court costs $213, and litigation expenses in the amount of $985.50. As a senior associate, I'm familiar with the method of record keeping, and it is in the regular course of business for the firm to make and keep such records. In my opinion, the work performed, time spent, and total expenses incurred for the legal services rendered in conjunction with this case are reasonable considering the nature of work involved. And as I mentioned, Your Honor, that is submitted as an exhibit as attached to my certificate of default that was filed on the 27th. And that is all I have.
And
And
everything
I
appears to
did-
be in, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Schreiber.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to mention that we did submit a proposed order to Mr. Freehoff as well.
In fact, I'm looking at it now and I was going to comment that I appreciate that yours does say we served so-and-so on such and such date. And
Yes.
that more than the required time has passed and no answer has been filed. So that makes it a lot easier on us. So I appreciate that. The presentation that you have made, and particularly with an eye toward the order that you submitted, everything does appear to be in order. And so we will go ahead and get this order on file for you guys. Probably, I don't know if the clerk will accept it, but we'll probably get it filed today. And then whenever the
Okay.
clerk accepts it, it will be a matter of record for you and your client. Anything else you need from us, Mr. Shawaga?
That's all I have, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, excellent. And have a great new year. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Y'all as well. Happy New Year.
Take care.
Happy New Year, Judge.
Bye.
Bye.